So, Steve Arpin, a man who spends most of his career in rallycross currently for the past decade or so. He has won 3 rallycross events throughout his career, also won X Games, and was teammates with Scott Speed during his rookie career, or season. But before I start talking about his rally career for the entire video, I must start talking about, well, his NASCAR career, because that's the point of this. Okay, so right quick, let's take a look at the criteria. It's really short and simple, and again, we're only knowing certain races. I don't really have a specific amount, just certain ones that interest me, see what went down. So, first we're going to check out, the way they drive. So, the aggression, consistency, basically, like, well, how good is their consistency for the most part? Consistently being high, it depends, really. Finishing, see where they finish, that matters most. Qualifying doesn't matter too much for me, but hey, starting position still sort of factors in. And basically how they are at certain tracks. That just assuming he went through those 4 types of tracks to begin with. Now, feel free to pause this at any time to see, and, well, you see how I'm rating it out of 10, well, on the top right there of the screen. Now, the first race we're going to check out from Steve Arpin is, well, his very first race in the NASCAR sanction. Well, in a race sanctioned by NASCAR. Basically, NASCAR Nationwide Series 2010, Race 8, Talladega. Oh, yeah, quick side note here. Steve Arpin did do the entire 2009 ARCA season, but it's not sanctioned by NASCAR at the time. It was his own thing, so which is why I didn't mention it earlier, though that probably would have been important to mention, but anyway, Steve Arpin made 7 starts in 2010 in the Nationwide Series, but all 7 starts was with Junior Motorsports in the 7 car before Dak Patrick took over. Now, I doubted he was going to do well, but surprisingly, he actually stays, well, not in that's not a good example, but he was actually up front for the most part, for about like half the race or so, until, well, the final lap he wound up finishing in 26th from this major accident, as you can see down low. Now, Brad Keselowski would end up winning that race. Now, next race we're going to check out is Richmond, because, gotta have some variety. Some super speedway and short track. Richmond does count as short track. And yes, this is what the car looked like. So the car looked like this well before Dan Patrick showed up with GoDaddy as a sponsor. But anyway, yeah, I couldn't find anything on him in this race. Seriously, I checked out the footage, which wasn't much to begin with. It was like 240p. And yeah, I did nothing. Qualified 37th and somehow finished 25th. Nothing to note here, so I don't know. I'd have to see how he does in other short tracks, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess. Now, despite getting into some trouble at Darlington, he would go on to finish 29th, about like 9 laps down or so. But it was what went down at Charlotte, which is just mind-boggling. He wound up in an accident at lap 2, and I guess the car eventually got his car fixed up and went back on the track, but then I guess they parked it 100 laps later, because according to Racing Reference, he finished 34th at lap 127 of 203. So, I don't know. Whatever, not a good result. Race 17, Daytona. He would go on to actually get his first top 10. Actually, his first and only top 10 of this season. And, well, actually the rest of the season goes pretty well, though. He would switch over to 88 for the 88 car for the next 2 races, which is at Gateway and Iowa. Now here's how his 2010 stats look like. So 0 wins, 0 top 5s, 1 top 10 from that Daytona race. Average finish of 22.1 and 2 DNFs, which I'm surprised his average finish is, well, that good. I mean, for JRM, even at the time, 22.1 is kind of a bad average finish, but then again, there was a lot of guys driving for a team, especially that 7th car. And now for 2011, Steve Arpin would move on to be part of Turner Scott Motorsports, which was an alright truck series team. And he'll only do 5 races for a team, as Blake Feast would do most of his starts for the most part. But his first race would be at Texas Motor Speedway, and actually goes pretty well. He leads 6 laps. I think that's the first time he led laps so far in NASCAR. But aside from that, his results in the Truck Series is very surprising. Now, keep in mind, this was his only season in the Truck Series. Only 5 races, but he finished like, he finished 12th in Kentucky the very next race, then finished 13th in both Iowa and IRP, which I think is Lucas Oil. And then in his final race at Chicagoland, he started on pole, only to finish 16th, but hey, what you gonna do? He actually started on pole for that race, so he got a pole, and well, he got no wins during this stint, but hey, here are his stats. Now, his stats here are quite the mixed bag of results. So 0 wins, 0 top 5s, 0 top 10s, but his average finish is 15.4, which is about 7 positions better. And no DNF, so he was just he was very midfield. Not only enough, that Texas race where he led 6 laps, well, that was his worst finish. Finished 23rd. And his best finish was the very next race at Kentucky, finishing 12th. So, quite the stats for 2011. Now, 2012, coming up. Now, sadly, he would only make 2 more starts in NASCAR, period. In fact, in 2012, he would be with Turner Scott Motorsports in the Xfinity Series, or at time Nationwide Series, with, well, here are the stats right now. I might as well just put it there. He would race in Texas and Iowa, finishing 10th in Texas, 16th in Iowa, which culminates in 0 wins, 0 top 5s, 1 top 10, with an average finish of 13, which is really solid considering how many, guys, do start the race, and would, well, 0 DNF. So, honestly, this guy isn't crash prone at all. The only time he really crashed was, well, Talladega race and Charlotte. And even then, those crashes were way out of his control. So overall, well, you're gonna have to check out the table after some quick calculations here and there. Well, actually, hang on. I have to say, well, we're going to do Rallycross and yada yada. I mean, I explained it at the beginning of the video that he did Rallycross, and turns out pretty well. He did Nitro Rallycross recently, so he's still going at it to this day. Now, real quick, let's check out the chart, see how he did. Okay, so I need to quickly say that aggression is something I had to rate on my own. The rest here is basically based on, well, mostly based on stats. Then I just rate it out of 10. So, for the most part, you see the grading there on the top right. Out of 10. Now you see NA next to road courses because he didn't do any road courses in NASCAR, at all. But hey, it is what it is. Short tracks, he wasn't really that good, but then again, he only did 1 or 2. He probably did one in Trucker, Xfinity in 2012, but I missed it. I probably skipped it. Super Speedways, he's actually alright. I mean, aside from that crash in his first race, in the very first race he did, he was running pretty well, pretty consistently up front. So, yeah, that went pretty well. Now, his Speedway stats, that just means intermediate tracks, but I just shortened the Speedway. It's kind of average, not much to it. I mean, I don't know. Not really sure how to feel about that one. Now, for the most part, his overall grade, this was tough, but I'll decide between C and a B, and overall I decided to just give him a B, his stats are pretty good. He's actually a pretty decent driver, but the strange thing is, his stats got better after he left Junior Motorsports, which is really strange, but because even then, back then, Junior Motorsports was a pretty good team. I mean, you know what they did with Brad Keselowski in the late 2000s. But hey, what you gonna do? Some guys do better with other teams. I don't know, but whatever. So this was a really interesting one. I'm gonna wrap it up here because I don't really have much else to say about him. So if you want to see, I mean, I'm already doing more, but if you have any ideas on certain drivers that you want to see me review, then I don't know, comment down below. Just tell me who. I mean, because I'm pretty open. Just drivers that no one really talks about. You know what I mean? That's basically my only criteria for it. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching this one. If you have, I'm just assuming you have, and please tell me how it is down below. I don't know. Tell me your thoughts on it. If you knew Steve Arpin was and how you think he was in NASCAR, just assuming you knew I did before this video. So yeah, more videos coming up soon.